Fun group to coach. They really are. I mean, I think in the last 2 days, probably two of the most fun practices that I've had here. From the mentality of this group to their work ethic and their willingness to, they're trying to grow, and all the way up to Dante Stills. And that's fun to coach. So that, I mean, really, and like you said, don't know a whole lot. I think we're faster. I think we're more athletic. I think we got a little more of an edge about us. Mentality, does that translate to the field? I don't know yet. We'll see, but they're a lot of fun.
More length at linebackers and safety, is that by design?
Yes, it is. I mean, and y'all have heard me talk about erasers, and with a combination of length and speed, length being probably a little more the priority, depending on what you consider speed, dynamic speed to be. I mean, I probably think that you don't have to be as fast on the 40 time, because when do you ever run 40 yard? Does that make sense? So like when I just look at closing speed. Well, obviously, the faster you can close, no matter what your 40 time is, the longer you are, the more that you can make up for. And because there's not going to be a play on defense where there's not a mistake made. It's just not the design of the game. I believe that. So the more guys that you have that can athletically erase those mistakes, the better you're going to be. So I see that.
Like mentally processing too, that can close the gap in speed if you can you know what I mean, determine something and get there. Is that part of the process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that through the evaluation, look at a guy like Hershey. There's one thing if you watch Hershey's film at Jones, he can find the ball. He's a ball hawk. So if that kind of so what you're saying is if they can locate, naturally, and then they have all those intangibles with it, then things don't have to be perfect, which they very rarely will be. So they can erase the mistake.
So you can be a smart guy and maybe run a 4.6, but play at a 4.5 or whatnot by.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are the things that specifically that length bring you at linebacker? And I mean, obviously getting hands in pass routes, but some of the other things that length helps you at a couple of those positions.
Well, at the point of contact in the run game, it allows you to separate and see what's going on, diagnose the play, whether it's in your gap or the ball falls out of your gap and you transition, shed the block, go make the play. I think a lot of times, well, the other thing it does, instead of just windows in the pass game, when balls are not cleanly caught, now they can give it that little nudge to get it out. More tips, more balls in the air, more opportunities, which is probably the thing I look at we've got to improve on overall. It's that. And, everybody wants the perfect drop, pick, go score, but a lot of the turnovers come off of opportunities that a lot of times you see on film that or the fans see on TV that they're not there. They're just like, oh, it's just a drop ball. Well, I go back to 3 plays last year, 2 against Oklahoma, 1 against Baylor, where the ball is literally within distance of a DB or a linebacker in the air, and we don't get it. And I think that the more of those opportunities you can create, the more you're going to get. The longer you are, especially at the second level, then the more of those opportunities you create. So that's another place where it helps too.
So many new faces in the secondary. Your thoughts of those new guys? How do you rotate them to try to find what fits best? I guess that's what spring's about.
Yeah, I mean, it's finding the right pieces. They're new, but I think they're pretty good. I think they're, like I said, and y'all have heard Coach Brown say this, I think we're faster. I think we're more athletic. The guys that we've had here, take a guy like Andrew Wilson-Lamp with his intangibles, which is length. Now he's stronger. So that plays into it. It's just over the next 13 practices, finding the right pieces. But I love the pieces that are there.
To that, with so much inexperience seemingly, and a lot of jobs open on that back end, is that creating more of a sense of competition even than in years past on that back end?
I hope so. I really hope so, because that's why we've been where we've been up front. Same thing's been created for the last really almost 3 years, 2 years. The deeper you are, the more competition that there is. And so then you start really having to dissect what sets the starter apart, which is good because the guy behind him also learns from what you're coaching him to do, and it just kind of reciprocates through the room. But yeah, I hope so.
Jordan, a couple times you talked about, and I don't know if it's the same plays or not, but just in different spring things so far, you mentioned picking out 2 or 3 plays or 3 or 4 plays. There's hundreds of snaps last year. How do those stand out among maybe more obvious plays that, something that maybe you saw that no one else did that you turn into teaching points and talking points?
I think you look at the end result of the game. So you look at the end result of the game, and if in those plays I'm talking, I could pick out more, but I always use probably the ones everybody thinks about: Oklahoma, Texas Tech. Really probably those two. They're 1-score games. Really Kansas State up to the very end, and so when you have games of that margin, that's what the margin for error is really small. And so I always go back and see, all right, if we make this play, in the situation, maybe the field zone, maybe the time of the game, before half, late in the fourth, where if the plays are made, the momentum swings, because those plays are 95% of the time are turnovers. What are turnovers? Turnovers are momentum. You swing that momentum to your sideline, then the whole end of the game changes, or it's at a point in the game where the end of the game situation is different. So you make a play right before half, then the end of the game scenario is totally different. At Texas Tech, I think we had a tip. We had a 4th down. I think the ball was tipped. I can't remember exactly the situation, but you make that play, you take 3 off the scoreboard. Now they're kicking a tie at the end of the game as opposed to kicking a win. All right, so you can find them. And you're right, there's hundreds of them, but you can always find usually 2 or 3 in a close ball game that would have made either the difference in the game or would have made the situation at the end of the game totally different, and maybe the momentum would have been different.
Is it easier to teach than just traditional or fundamental things like?
Yeah, they are, because they stick out. Because the players are like, okay, yeah, I see where if you make this, we get the ball on Kansas State. We don't have a penalty. We pick the ball. It's 7-0. Extra low picks the ball. Our offense at least gets points there. 7-3 going in the second quarter, maybe 7-7. Who knows? Now it's a totally different game. So that's easy to teach off of because the players remember those plays.
Linebackers and safeties, how many guys would you say that you have that could play multiple positions? Is that something you're trying to work? I don't, cross-training is not the right word, but getting guys to work
But
different.
it is the right word.
Okay.
I think all of them.
Okay.
Maybe the one exception that I see is maybe Lee Koba. He's a true Mike.
Okay.
He plays that way, he that's what he is. And I think for the entirety of his career, that's probably what he's going to be. But you take a guy like Lance Dixon, Davis Mallinger, Hershey McLaurin, Marcus Floyd, even Lamp. I think Favris is showing some positive signs. He can do some different things. Caleb Coleman, those guys are really have different skill sets and a lot of range to do a lot of different things, which is good. I mean you can play situational football a little bit better being able to do that. But I think looking at our group, maybe the one guy that probably is locked into one is Lee.
All those guys you mentioned are long.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Floyd, what do you see in him? He was playing some safety today. I know he played the corner at Murray State. So either or guy, or are you just trying to get him some reps at safety too? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think we're trying to. We know we can play corner. And you're talking about, and there again, there's another guy that's new, but at the same time is experienced. May not be experienced here, but he has a lot of experience. So I think it's more. That's probably where our biggest need in the secondary is, right there at the cat safety. So for us, it's about finding who is. We know Marcus can play corner, and at some point this season, he more than likely will play some corner. But that being probably one of the bigger holes that we have at cat is finding out a guy that has the skill set we need there. Can he do it? And through 2 days, he's hadn't proven that he can't. So
From a numbers standpoint, it seems like you have fewer corners than safeties. I know you got an extra safety position, more spots to fill, but are you okay where your numbers are right now, knowing that you're still going to be looking, in the portal post-spring for another guy or two?
I mean, I think that, I think numbers for everybody but a few in college football now is going to be a concern at almost all positions. That's just what you're going to have to deal with, the majority of it. So, I mean, you want to be, you try to go into a season at most of the time at 3 deep, especially at corner, because those guys are also playing special teams, 2 or 3 special teams. So, and then, obviously long season, start to get those little knick-knack injuries and having to rotate more guys. But, I like where we're at. I like the guy. Well, obviously we're still looking for a couple of pieces, but if you can, obviously if you're too deep and you can stay healthy, then you're fine. It's just not knowing, and odds are that at some point you're probably gonna have to lean on some of your depth, and so. But I think in the college football we're in now, I think depth's probably going to be something that you worry about constantly.
You're bringing somebody new in. I'm guessing the easiest thing is to bring in a corner and play man coverage, right? That's the easiest thing to do.
That'd be nice.
Right?
You got him. Yep.
Exactly. But once you get past that and start doing zone and different things, that's where all of the concepts come in. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that a guy in an evaluation process, I think a guy that can play man probably overrides everything else, because if he can play man, you teach him how to play zone. But are you going to have that luxury? Hopefully. But if you don't, you have to find the skill set that can do what your coverage concepts are asking the guy to do. That makes sense. So, whether it's man coverage, natural skills, length, athleticism, how does that tie in? How does it fit? And then you got to, make sure that you're asking him to do what he can do. That's always thought that was bad coaching. Is this is my scheme, no matter what my players are. It's not what we do. So, find a guy that can cover. If he's a better zone coverage guy, well then you'll be probably gonna play a lot of zone. And so, but you've tried to find, and there's a lot more that goes into the evaluation of that. But obviously, you're looking for a dynamic cover guy if you can find them. So.
Your thoughts on Zyke Lawton? I know it's 2 days in, but so far.
Zyke's a really, really smart player. So one thing that sticks out, right now, he's still just like a lot of guys in their second year in the developmental phase of their career. So body structure, all that'll change as he goes. The strength will change as he goes. The functional strength will change as he goes. His weight, body composition, all that. But Zyke's really, really smart. And that's one thing we go back into recruiting that, I sit right in here and did position meetings with him and talk ball with him, and he always picked up like that. And you see that on the field now. But Zyke is going to be a good player for us.